Hi guys, Wait, I'm Viking Dog 78, and this is round 2 of the Aero League Racing Group 3 Championship Season 11 Tier 1. We are at Alsace, which I don't think it's the way you pronounce it, but I'm not French, so yeah. There have been a couple of shakeups after the stewards have concluded their investigations on certain incidents. From round 1, I did report Sonic for two situations, one at the start and the other being obviously the push to pass. He got a 10-second penalty for the start where he just cut across me and half spun into me, which was very dangerous. He got a no further action for the push to pass, which I appealed, so we will see what comes out of it. Whatever the steward's decision is, I will obviously respect it and move on. But that means that going into round 2, I am the championship leader with 3 points on both Sonic and Iggy, and it also means that I have won the sprint race at Watkins Glen, which is already one more win than what I was expecting with the pace that I was seeing after and during round 1. So now we will just jump straight into qualifying for round 2. So I forgot to record the part of quali where it says qualifying, but this is quali. This is the first lap, which was a complete mess. I think both first and second sector, and also the third one. You can see that I go white here, so I'm speeding through because this is going to be a horrible lap, at least for top of tier 1 standards. Obviously, it's going to be a 50.3, which is 8/10 off of Iggy's PB at the time. I know I'm not going to fight Iggy in this race. He just has way too much pace, and I'm probably not going to fight Sonic because of the tire wear. So I'm looking to get P2 or P3 in quali and then go from there. This is the final lap of quali, so I essentially have one shot to get into a good place. So breaking at the 50 meters board, get as much curb on the entry and exit. This is the kind of track where you want to really maximize the track width at every corner. If you're not on the edge of the track all the time, you're losing time. It's as simple as that. Going into, I don't know the numbers of the corners, but through here you want to get to the apex and then 100% throttle application as soon as possible, then lift off a tiny bit and then again 100%, and make sure that you're using all of the track to maximize the speed that you bring through the corners. Braking just before this outside curve, and then again as soon as possible on the power. Like, it sounds easy, but it's really not, because there are many elevation changes around here. The car is not easy to control, and you will see that I'm running the counter steer assist on strong, because the Renault just likes to snap on certain corners. Just like here, I just have a snap of oversteer that costs me probably 1 or 2 tenths. Not ideal, but it doesn't have an impact on my final quali result. We get to the hairpin with BX spinning right in front of me. Important to get some good traction to get the correct line. This corner I mess it up, but it's that corner where the Renault is really undrivable, and so I was just trying to survive through there. And we get to the final chicane again, braking before the curb, going to second, trying to set up the second part of the chicane as much as possible, and trying to get the best exit towards the line. It's going to be a 49.897, which is barely enough. It's like 10 thousandths in front of Keplero, which allows me to get P2 for qualifying behind Iggy, but in front of Cap, in front of Sonic, and in front of other rivals for this race. So going into the sprint, this is the kind of sprint where some of us are going to one stop, because the pit lane time loss is like 9 or 10 seconds, and the tire wear is so high that most of us will one stop, but others will take the risk and not stop. So it's important to maximize the first stint and not lose too much time. Starting the race, I get a much better start than Iggy. We get alongside. I don't really want to fight Iggy because he has better pace than me, and I'd like to settle in behind him and let him do the pace. So he keeps the outside line. He will get a better run out of the corner, so I can just tuck in the slipstream and stay behind. So at the moment, the plan is simply stay behind Iggy, like keep keep myself in the slipstream as much as possible to improve my pace and really not fight anybody, try to pull away as much as possible from as many cars as possible, because some drivers are not going to stop, and it's also important to not get too much traffic once we stop. So the plan is simple, really drive at my best without fighting too much with other drivers. So trying to follow through, what Iggy is doing, trying to keep in the slipstream. Kepler is right behind. He's showing a lot more pace in general this season as I go off. And he's showing a lot of pace in this round, so he will definitely be a rival to contend with. BX is in P4. I'm counting on BX, on the Peugeot VGT, to kind of hold up part of the group behind. To gain time, especially on Sonic, because if Sonic is close to me, I will never be able to beat him because he will not stop. The BRZ on the wheel is just too good on tires, so I'm not going to be able to fight him. We're approaching the end of the first lap. I kept roughly the slipstream to Iggy, but he will have better pace eventually. So we skip to lap 3 to the banking corner. This is interesting, I didn't even know it was possible. So I ran off a bit wide. I go on the grass here, which loses me time because dirty tires. And I get a penalty for some reason. I didn't know track limits penalties were a thing around Alsace, but they are. And so this is a mistake completely on my end, which will cost me a lot because dirty tires cost you a lot of time, upwards of 1 second, and the penalty that I will go and serve on the following lap, lap 4, will cost me the position on Kepler, which cost me additional time. I could have defended the inside, but I wasn't sure how much I would have slowed down because of the penalty, and I didn't want to kind of block him on the racing line. So I decided to play it a bit safe, and he has good pace, so even if I settle behind him, it's not like I lose too much time. But as we will see, the time loss from my own mistake that triggered the penalty will be relevant at the end of the race. Sonic is 2 seconds behind us. He cleared BX and he will start gaining on us because it's that phase of the race where my tires are low on life and his tires are perfectly fine. Skip to the end of lap 5 and Iggy is pitting, so am I. As I said, we are going to one stop this sprint. Other people have been pitting in the previous laps and this lap, and because of the mistake that you just saw, I'm going to rejoin just behind Bomber and Versaris. If I didn't make that mistake, I would be in front of them, which is now not ideal because I have 3 or 4 laps. It's going to be very close, and I have to overtake as many cars as possible. I'm eyeing BX's position, which is going to be P4 by the time Iggy overtakes him. So yeah, end of lap 6, I caught up with Bomber. Now it's the time to be aggressive on the moves, because I don't have a lot of time and I have many places to recover. I tried the switch back on Bomber. I didn't really want to go side by side through that corner, so I get a better run. There's also a big difference on tires at the moment, so I can go around the outside of the final chicane and I get the jump. Now I have to get Versaris in the next lap as quickly as possible. So we cut to lap 7, we approach the banking corner. This is where you will feel the difference in tires, and this is where you will see how much time I gain through here on Versaris. I get a much better run. I am forced to take the inside, which will turn into the outside for the hairpin. We give each other room. He keeps the nose on the inside, so I give him room there. but I have much better traction at this stage of the race. And now this is important. I have Alex in the McLaren and BX in the Peugeot just in front of me. This is the end of lap 7. Um, we will see now, we go through the final chicane, turn 1 and then turn 2. We will see now as we cross the line. I will cross the line with 1 minute and 50 seconds. That tells me that I don't know if I have the time for the 9th lap, which means that I have to get these overtakes done in this lap. I have to be aggressive. I have to drive at my best pace, and yeah, be aggressive. I need to overtake both of them in this specific lap because I don't know if I'm going to get a 9th lap, and so a following lap to get another chance at them. I need to get these places now because I risk of not having another opportunity. So going through here, I know that I need to get Alex in this following corner, the 90-degree right-hander, so I get a good run. I dive down the inside, nice and fair. We give each other room. Alex keeps it on the outside, but again, the tire difference is very important. I have a shorter run to the next corner. I defend the corner a little bit here, and now I have half a lap to overtake BX before the timer runs out. I know I will gain so much time through this corner because he's on the Peugeot, which inherently loses time through here, and he's on way older tires. I get an amazing run. I am forced to the outside, but it will become the inside for the hairpin, which is very good for me. He goes a bit deep. He tried to outbrake me, which allows me to go through down the inside, and that was vital because I didn't know again if I had the time for a 9th lap. So yeah, it was crucial that I got these places before the start to finish line, just in case. And now we will see that as we go through the final chicane once again, the gap to the leader is now 7.5 and it's 5 seconds to Capelaro. I just barely get another lap, and so does BX. So yeah, at this point, the final lap, I have nothing to ask to my race. I can only close the gap to Capelaro, about 3 seconds. And this will be a P4 for the sprint. A good result overall. A bit of a shame that I missed out on the podium, but I think that was pretty much the most that I could have gotten out of the car. Maybe I could have gotten the podium if it wasn't for the mistake on lap 3. Now, for the 40 minutes feature race, we will be starting obviously 4th to last, only in front of the drivers who finished in front of us in the sprint. It's going to be a race where some people 1 stop, some people 2 stops, somebody even 3 stops. So a lot of different strategies, a lot of people pitting in different laps. So it's going to be interesting. The very first thing that I have to do though, and it's high priority, I have to overtake BX because I don't want to get stuck behind the VGT for too long. So obviously it's lap 1 of the feature. I know I have more pace than him because of the car. So I got a very good run out of the 90 degrees corner, and I'm going down the inside. It's a bit aggressive. Luckily we didn't make contact because I pulled out of the slipstream at the very last second. But good driving from both of us. So yeah, up to P11 immediately. It was important to overtake BX because I didn't want to get stuck behind him, and I want the other drivers to get stuck behind him ideally. Mini is going slowly in the Ford, so I take the opportunity to slot in and get that move done as well up to P10, which is another important position. The more moves that I get done early, it allows me to create a gap to the other top runners that are still behind at this stage. Here, everybody breaks super early, and I have to essentially go for a move on Versailles just because I need to take, evasive action. It turns into an overtaking attempt, which allows me to get a good run out of the final corner and into 1. So I will just go for the move. We will go, nice and clean side by side through 1, and I get the position. So I will be about defending the position because he will get the slipstream, he will get another attempt. So Now that we approach the corner, I will cover the inside line, so he will be forced to the outside, and then nice and easy on the throttle, and that's the position done. Now looking, forward, I have to focus on Alex, Bomber, CMP, and Owen. It's a big pack of cars. Alex comes out a little slow, so I have a look. I choose the outside line. I brake a little bit too late, and I have to straighten up the car to avoid hitting Bomber. So that was a mistake that cost me the position on Versailles once again. Unfortunate, but that's my mistake, and I didn't want to hit Bomber. So going wide was definitely the best option there. BX is behind me, and right behind him is already Iggy. So that's not a good side because I would have wanted Iggy to stay behind the other cars a bit more. Approaching the final sector again, Versailles again. Everybody braking a little bit early. There's Bomber going wide up ahead, which causes a bit of a congestion in this section of the circuit. And now everybody's going to be very close, like 4 cars in a proper fight. And here there will be a gap that just opens up on the outside, and I will take it, and it will be a double overtake around the outside on Bomber and Versailles, which was a very good move that I immediately countered by hitting the wall and losing back the position to Versailles. So a very good move countered by a very bad move, but yeah. Now I have to defend once again from Versailles, and right behind him it's Iggy. So something that I didn't notice at the time, and I was told after the race, there's Kepler at the back of the pack, who's on a 3-stop strategy, which I didn't even think about. I didn't think it was viable, but we will see how that pans out by the end of the race. So I defended position on Versailles, and now I will have to focus on the cars in front once again. So end of lap 3, I'm right behind Alex right now. Again, braking really early. I apologize if there was a bit of contact, but I had to take evasive action once again. He hits the wall. I kind of hit the wall as well, but we get the position. Now I have Owen in front, fighting with CMP. I also have Iggy behind, and as I said previously, ideally I would have wanted Iggy to stay behind a bit more so that I could fight him properly for position in the second half of the race. But on lap 4, with 33 minutes to go, if he goes for the move, I will just let him by. I don't really want to fight him too much because I can just try to follow him through. Like when he goes for a move, I can just try to follow him and use him, to advance through the pack. So by the end of lap 4, he's right behind me. I know he will go for the move here. I leave him the inside line. I brake nice and early. He gets the position, and I slot him behind. And I will essentially use Iggy to go through the rest of the pack that hasn't pitted yet, as CMP pits and gets rid of the medium tires. We cut to lap 5 where Iggy and Owen are fighting. Iggy is trying to get the position from his teammate, and this is what I mean by trying to follow through. Iggy gets the jump on Owen. Owen now has his line slightly compromised, so I try to set up a move through the banking. I get a good switchback here, which gets me a lot more speed on the exit. We are briefly alongside, so I push on the brakes a little bit. We still give each other plenty of room, and on traction I get the position. And so that's P6 overtaking now when I'm following Iggy in this race. So we jump to end of lap 7. This is where I decided to pit from mediums to softs, so my strategy will be 7 laps on mediums, 7 on softs without refueling in this pit, and then 8 laps on softs for the final stint of the race. The final stint will be a bit harder on tires, but I can deal with like one sector of bad tires, hopefully. I rejoin a nice bit of clean air actually just in front of Versailles, which is important. End of lap 9, I catch up to to Bomber. Again, this is a carbon copy of the move that I did on him in the sprint. So again, I switch back through this left-hander, and I get the run through this straight, and entering the braking zone, I will outbrake him. He doesn't really fight it. There's a big difference in tires, so I get the position. And now I'm looking forward to Kerpel, Ben, and another car that I cannot spot, but I think it's Alex. So I was speaking with Kerpel, and he was telling me that if I was behind him, he would let me through. So at this point, I was trying to signal him with the lights to let me through, but he was going for the move on Alex. So who am I to tell him not to? Unfortunately, he overshoots the corner by a country mile, which sends him off track. That's not ideal for him, but that allows me to get a good run on Alex, and I will just go around the outside, brake a lot later than him, and with the tire advantage get a very good move completed. Which again, it's important because at this stage you know, in a two-stop you always want to lose the least amount of time in fighting so that you can lap as quickly as possible in clean air. But because of the different strategies at play, pretty much everybody will be fighting each other multiple times, and it's going to be hard to have a lap properly for yourself. Lap 11, Sonic and Benjamin, I'm used to calling him as Benzit, so I apologize if that happens, are fighting. Sonic gets the move, and now Benzit is a little bit compromised. So again, the switch back through the banking corner is so good. We go side by side through here, and I think he was on older tires. He lets me by. He doesn't really fight it, which I appreciate. That's some bit of smart racing. Now behind Sonic, which I don't have the best history with, and obviously when I got behind him, I really wanted to make this overtake. I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder, so getting the run through here, I didn't know if he was going to defend or not. I don't commit to a lance down the inside here. I wasn't really confident. Trying instead to set up a move on the main straight, I get a very good run on him. He doesn't defend. I think he's on old mediums and he's one stopping, so we get the move down the inside. And that's P2 for the moment, behind Chris, who I also think is on mediums since we are gaining quite a bit. And now the focus is on pulling away from Sonic and Iggy before the pit stop at the end of lap 14. So end of lap 14, we pit alongside Iggy. Importantly, Sonic pitted in the previous lap, so he's going to get an undercut on both of us, which means that we will be fighting for position once I come out of the pits, which is exactly what happens. We are literally side by side, which I'm not really confident in since what happened in Watkins Glen, but I'm always willing to give a second chance to people. And maybe, you know, I shouldn't be always seeing what will happen next. So we're side by side, that's okay. We're still side by side. He tries a switch back, I think, to get a better run through here. I defend the inside, not enough though. He gets the move done down the inside, which is fair. I keep it around the outside though. We're going side by side through here. Still good side by side action. This is probably the cleanest racing I've ever done with him. Then we approach the next corner, and I have the line, I have the corner rights until he decides to push me off, which is great. Almost pushes me onto the grass again, until he finally relinquishes the position. So not happy about this level of racing where it's like the first part was good, like the move that he did on the long left-hander was good, was completely fair and clean. I left the room and he went for it, but then pushing me off on the other left-hander, that's not good. And it's like he doesn't need to do this because he has the base to compete fair and square. Anyway, we're approaching Chris and Isaac, so you know, these are cars that were still fighting for position. Everybody's fighting for position at this point because the strategies are starting to converge. Isaac is pitting, so he's one of the final cars that still has to pit alongside Keplero. Sonic goes for a dive down the inside, which is clean until he pushes me wide once again. So exiting the corner, we're still side by side. Iggy's behind me, decides to give me the bump draft, so I give Iggy the slipstream so they can get alongside, and hopefully Iggy can get the position on Sonic. I have to cover the inside because I don't trust Sonic not to dive me at this point. Sonic gets the move once more on Iggy. I don't get a good exit there. I cover the inside, there's no room on the inside. He still pushes me off, completely off the racing line, which cost me a lot of time. And Iggy goes through, gaining 2 positions and costing, with Sonic costing me a position through here. So I really don't know what's going on with him, since, everything that you've seen so far, the entire video, I've showcased every overtake that I've made, and every overtake that was made on me. I've showcased myself attacking, myself defending against pretty much the entire grid, because we've been fighting each other because of the strategies. And I don't think there's a problem with my driving style when it's only one single driver that's causing me problems and it's causing all of this contact. It's like, I don't know, like I'm racing other 13 drivers with no issues, with no contact whatsoever. Then he shows up and it's like 4 different important contacts in like 1 lap and a half. By the way, Kepler and Alex are pitting. They're the final cars. Kepler was on the 3 stops, and I know I'm racing him at the end of the race, so all of this is losing me time, which is not ideal. Lap 17, there are Chris and Benzit fighting. Iggy goes through, and now Benzit, I think, is on way older tires. He has a slow run through here. I go down the inside, except Sonic also goes down my inside and pushes both of us wide. I had to go on the brakes because if I don't, I go off the track, and Benjamin goes off the track alongside me. So again, this was probably the worst instance of Sonic's driving so far, because it gets worse. Not with me, but it gets worse. But at this point, I'm like blinking my lights at him because I'm not happy. It's like I'm doing it at every straight. I doubt that he cares about anything, that he even looks behind him. I doubt that he looks forward or to any car in general, but I'm kind of pissed, to be honest with you. But I still have to focus because I have to get the position on Chris, and I have to keep up my pace because Kepler will be closing in on me, as he is, because you can see that from the previous clip he went from 4 seconds to 2.6. I apologize to Chris if I bumped him a little bit there. But yeah, I go for the move down the inside here. I think he signaled me to go through. I'm not too sure. So that's another position done. And really, it's 3 laps to go now. I'm okay on fuel. Tires will be dead on the final sector. What I have to worry about is Kepler coming back for a podium spot and see if something happens between Iggy and Sonic at the front, which is a shame because I could have been a part of that fight seeing my pace. As we skip to lap 22, Kepler is there, 2 tenths behind me. So I know I will have to try and defend. And as I go through this corner, I see a BMW off the circuit and a BR7 benefiting from it. So I really wonder what may have happened here. I really do. Surely nothing bad has happened. But yeah, I really had to shift my focus on Kepler because he has much better tires. And I have to find a way to defend myself on the final sector. You can see my tires are gone pretty much. There's an important difference here on tire wear, and Kepler has shown a lot of pace. So approaching the final hairpin, I go a bit too deep probably, which allows him to get alongside me. And then through this corner, I expected him to yield and try a switchback or something. He just hangs it around the outside, and fair play. That's an amazing move that he pulled off on me, and just fair play, and congratulations on that move. Final chicane, I don't have the tires to try and fight back, so congrats to him on a very well-deserved P2. I'm very glad for him. I've known him for like 3 or 4 years. 4 years, yeah. He definitely deserves this result. And these are the provisional standings. So at P3, it's decent. Shame about Iggy getting P4 when he could have just swept the round, and he definitely deserved it on pace. I just want to showcase this, and this is the part of the video where it turns into a bit of a rant. Like, not considering everything that he's done prior to this, I don't know what to say about this move and Sonic's behavior in general on track. Like, this move has no reason to exist, literally. Like, if we have a look through here, there you go. He's full throttle on the narrowest possible line on a corner that it's going to get narrower, so you need to slow down. He's full throttle approaching two other cars that are going to go side by side on a line that doesn't allow you to be full throttle from there to the end, so he has to slow down, ideally. It's like, there's no reason to keep full throttle here. I don't understand it. It's like, you're not going to make the corner going full throttle. So I really don't know, so I'm just waiting for the video to skip through to the next frame. There we go. You see, he is now at 196 kilometers an hour. He's still full throttle. Like, you cannot make that corner on your own, let alone when there's two other cars that you have to respect the line of. I'm trying to make a safe overtake on Benzit or Benjamin. He pops out of nowhere, obviously, because I cannot expect him to floor it, to put it 100% throttle, and when we make contact, he's still 100% throttle. Only now he slows down when he realizes that he's not making the corner, but now he's going to make the corner because he has used me as a shield, as his own brake, because he's slowing down 10 kilometers an hour. And now I'm in this position where I have to hit the brakes as hard and fast as possible, because if I don't, I'm going off the circuit, and Benjamin is also going off the circuit alongside me, as you will see here. My speed is lower than Sonic's speed on a higher line through the banking, because his line doesn't allow to make the corner again. See, I'm at 187, he was at 190 to 96. Here's the hit. Obviously I'm full throttle because this is the exact moment where it happens. I still didn't see him. You can see I'm on the brakes now. I have to go on the brakes, because if I don't, we're flying off. You can see how much I hold the brakes for, and how much I'm slower compared to the speed of Sonic that you saw previously. I'm a good 30 kilometers an hour slowly. Unfortunately, there is a bit of contact with Benjamin, but I think both of us braking so that allowed us to stay on track. Fortunately, I think both of us had enough racecraft there to avoid further consequences. Then we skip to the final lap. If you wondered what happened to Iggy, to see him drop from P1 to P4, this happened. Yeah, it's the exact same move that he pulled on me last week in Watkins Glen, with the further consequence that this was a higher speed corner, so the hit that he gives to Iggy sends him onto the grass. And look at this. So let's try to look at the speed at the... So this is their speed when they are in the braking zone. Iggy is 30 kilometers an hour slower than Sonic. But now I will go back and use proper references through this section of the circuit so that you can see just how ridiculous it is. So we take Iggy, and I think we will look at the 150 meter board. We can see that the straight line speed is roughly the same here. At the 100 meters, it's pretty much the same, 228 for both of them. Now we get to the start of the curb, where both of them roughly brake. Iggy is 231 and Sonic will be at 228. So, pretty similar. Then the final reference that we will take is a bit later in the braking zone, just on that shadow, as they are approaching the turning. Iggy is at 143, Sonic is at 166. There's a 23 kilometers an hour difference as they are about to make contact. Now here's the thing. You can miss your braking point. That's perfectly fine. I understand missing your braking point. Happens to everybody. But if you do, be sensible. Don't ruin somebody else's race. Like, I took evasive action to Bomber during the race because I did the exact same thing. Do the sensible thing. Like, take evasive action here. Don't go down the inside and hit Iggy. Go to the outside and just ruin your own race. Anyway, I don't want to finish the video on such a sour note, so I genuinely want to thank the rest of Tier 1 because the racing that we had and that I've showcased with this video for round 2 was very, very good. Like, the racing from everybody was clean, was fair. Everybody was aggressive, but again, very clean. And it reminds me why I'm in love with league racing and why I do it in the first place. So again, thank you to everybody who took part in the round and raced that cleanly. And yeah, this is it. Next week is the Schleife, the Green Hell, at night with possible rain, so that will be not fun. And I'll see you next week.